Hello and welcome back. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Pietros Maneos and her Aeolian Harp for becoming my two latest subscribers. Thank you very much, I really appreciate it. And now, on with the haul. This week I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to get two films from the Hopkins-McNaughton Popular Viewing Collection. First up is Easy A. I was so excited to see this because it looked really clever, and there seems to have been a surfeit of really pretty good teen movies in the past few years. You've got Charlie Bartlett, Youth in Revolt. So I thought this might be another one in that bumper crop. Had a great supporting cast. I'd never heard of this Emma Stone actress, but it had Patricia Clarkson, Thomas Hayden Church, Lisa Kudrow, Stanley Tucci, all these great supporting players. And I just did not like it at all. It was better than Juno, which is another teen film that I thought was ridiculously overhyped, but this it seemed to substitute meanness and to some extent crudeness for actual humor, and it had its moments, but it wasn't really that good. The characters were pretty annoying, especially the main character. By the end, I was just sort of wishing a grand piano would fall on her or something. So I have to say, very disappointed, would not recommend this. And then I got this documentary, The Tillman Story, which is about Pat Tillman, who gave up, right after 9/11, gave up a football contract to join the Army, and was later killed in what turned out to be a friendly fire incident, but there was a big cover-up surrounding that, and that's what this documentary is about. Have not seen it yet. And then from the main collection of the Johns Hopkins University Library, I got Charulata, or The Lonely Wife, directed by the great Satyajit Ray and based on a novel by Rabindranath Tagore. And this is the story of a neglected wife who falls in love with her husband's cousin who comes to stay. Have not seen it yet. Then I got Flikorna, or The Girls, directed by Mai Zetterling. Zetterling was a protege of Ingmar Bergman and also acted in a couple of his films. The one I can think of right off the top of my head is Night is My Future, but I think she was in a couple of others as well. And she also obviously was a screenwriter and director. And Mai Zetterling has a bit of a special place in my movie-going heart because I've been meaning to confess this for a while, and I figured this is a good time. For a few years, I was really, really strongly anti-subtitle and intertitle for home video. I would go see foreign films in the movie theater, but I just really hated the subtitles, didn't even watch silent films, hated the intertitles, and so I missed out on a lot of really good things, and in the past few years have been trying to catch up with that. And this wound up when I finally made the decision, I'm sick of missing out on these great movies, I'm going to start watching subtitles and intertitles at home. Mai Zetterling wound up directing the first subtitled film I wound up watching at home because it was called Loving Couples, and I actually had it confused with a wife-swapping comedy from the 70s starring Shirley MacLaine. But I wound up with this Mai Zetterling film, and I was like, I have it, and I've decided to make this big jump into subtitles, and I might as well watch it. And it was pretty good. So oddly enough, I had seen a couple of Bergman films. I had seen The Seventh Seal, and I think something else of his, but I wound up watching a Mai Zetterling film before I really started watching very many Bergman films. But anyway, this stars Bibi Andersson and Harriet Andersson, who are two big Bergman regulars as well. It's the story of three actresses participating in a traveling production of Lysistrata who come to consider the meaning of art, life, etc. Have not seen it yet, but looking forward to it. And then I got to The Samurai, also known as The Godson, directed by Jean-Pierre Melville and starring Alain Delon. I'm really kind of bummed here because they've put all these due date stickers all over Alain Delon. He's very handsome, so you'll have to check out the DVD if you want to get a look at him, I suppose. I am not really that big a Jean-Pierre Melville fan. He's considered to be this great French film noir director. Seen a couple of his films, thought they were fine, but just was not crazy about them. But I am definitely wanting to give this one a shot because it has Alain Delon. And then I got the latest Eclipse set, which is called Basil Dearden's London Underground. It's a series of 4 films directed by Basil Dearden, although you will notice that there are only 2 cases because this being Hopkins, heaven forbid that they could leave well enough alone and just leave the 4 DVDs in their original cases. They had to go mess them up. This set includes The League of Gentlemen, All Night Long, Sapphire, and Victim. I've seen Victim before. It was really good. I doubt I'll have time to see it again, but that was a really good film starring Dirk Bogarde as a gay man who becomes the victim of blackmail. And I just got to watch The League of Gentlemen, which is a really entertaining caper film about a group of ex-army officers who get together to pull off a bank heist. It was very witty and debonair and almost the kind of film you would expect maybe Alec Guinness or David Niven to show up in, although they actually were not in it, and have not seen the other 2 yet. And then from University of Baltimore, I got Eric von Stroheim's Queen Kelly, which stars Gloria Swanson. I was really looking forward to this because it's supposed to be a masterpiece, and honestly, I was severely underwhelmed. This, I almost was tempted to give up in the middle, but I didn't because it's supposedly such a huge classic. This was von Stroheim's last film. It was quite a debacle, in fact, it's not even finished. And this DVD version, which was released by Kino, they sort of reconstruct the ending and they show you the intertitles to show how it would have ended. But, I don't know, it was kind of disappointing as well. But it just, some silent films are campy but in an entertaining way, and this was just, I found it campy in kind of a tiring way. It looks beautiful, but just not crazy about it. Although, fun trivia fact, if you've seen Sunset Boulevard, which stars Gloria Swanson as a fading silent film star, or faded, and Eric von Stroheim as her butler, this film, Queen Kelly, provides the footage for the Gloria Swanson characters' films that they show in Sunset Boulevard. So, interesting for that reason. Then from Stevenson, I got Downloading Nancy, which I thought looked really promising because it stars Maria Bello and Rufus Sewell, who are 2 of my favorite actors. And also Jason Patric, whom I know I've seen in stuff, but hasn't really honestly made that big an impression. I wound up not finishing this. It's the story of a woman who goes to meet this guy she's been chatting with on the internet and hopes to fulfill all her sexual fantasies. And Rufus Sewell stars as her husband, who's trying to figure out what's going on. And it's one of these indie films that I find I just have increasingly less, or I guess increasingly less tolerance for, or decreasing tolerance for. Just trying to push the envelope, but I found it really boring. I found I just didn't really care, so I gave up. And now from the Sights and Sounds department of the Enoch Pratt Free Library, I got Late Autumn, directed by Ozu, the great Japanese director, and part of the Eclipse series Late Ozu. I loved this one. You may recall that the last Ozu film I saw, Tokyo Twilight, I found a little bit underwhelming, but this was just great. And it stars the actress who's in Late Spring who played the daughter. She plays a mother in this one, and it's sort of a reworking of Late Spring, which was about a widowed father trying to marry off his daughter, and this is about a widowed mother trying to marry off her daughter. And obviously there are plenty of other things going on too, including the question of whether the mother herself is going to remarry. Just beautifully done, classic Ozu, very moving, and also filled with gentle humor as well. Highly, highly recommended. And then I got Walk on Water, which is a thriller directed by Eitan Fox, starring Lior Ashkenazi, who was in Late Marriage, which you may recall I borrowed, I think it was quite a while ago, several weeks ago. And honestly, he was the reason I wanted to see this. As you can see, he's pretty easy on the eyes. And this is a thriller about an assassin for the Israeli government who is sent to track down this aging Nazi war criminal, but he's sent to befriend the Nazis' grandchildren to try to find out where he could be hiding out. and he develops a connection with the grandchildren, and things get complicated from there. Have not quite finished it yet, but I really enjoyed it. There are a couple of corny moments, including the fact that the assassin has some problem with his tear ducts, so he can't cry, and he keeps putting in eye drops, and I have a feeling he's going to be crying by the end. But nevertheless, I recommend it. Good film. And last but not least, I checked out part 2 of Oliver's Travels, which is a British miniseries about a professor and a police officer who team up to solve the mystery of the identity of this crossword puzzle author, and also a series of crimes that implicate several people in the police department. Stars the great Alan Bates as well as Sinead Cusack, and I really enjoyed part 1, so I'm looking forward to seeing what disc 2 holds. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.